Good afternoon. This is Dr. Casas. It is Sunday, June 22nd, 2025. And I'd like to share my thoughts on President Trump's military action in Iran yesterday. So to begin, we've seen many prepared speeches by Democrats. We've seen many prepared speeches in the media on all the negatives and potential negatives of the president's actions. So here are my thoughts. President Trump, phenomenal job, very well done, phenomenal execution. Sir, you have a lot to be proud about. What you did was what right looks like for the United States. What you did was what right looks like for Israel. And what you did was what right looks like for the world. So now let me take a step back for everyone who will see this on YouTube. What are these conclusions based on? What is my rationale? So let's start with the takeover of Iran in 1979. Iran became ruled by Islamic extremists, Shia Islamic extremists. And in their view of the world, the entire world should be a Shia Muslim extremist. Since that time, Iran has absolutely declared asymmetric war upon the United States. In the 1980s, Iran was responsible for the deaths of 241 Marines at the barracks in Beirut, Lebanon, while the United States was on a peacekeeping mission. There was never accountability for that. 1990s, Iran was responsible for Colbert Tower attacks, I believe in Nairobi, Kenya. In the 2000s, and this is where General Soleimani comes in, Iran, and specifically General Soleimani, were and was responsible for the deaths of hundreds of American service members in Iraq when it was Iran who was constructing and supplying insurgents in Iraq with explosively formed projectiles. And it is shocking to me that once President Bush knew about that he didn't take direct action. It was shocking to me that when President Obama was voted in, that he did not take direct action in his 8 years. And it wasn't until President Trump arrived that he had General Soleimani terminated. That should have happened many, many years before. In terms of direct asymmetric warfare upon the United States by Iran, by the 2010s, at the end, specifically by the end of President Obama's presidency. So for 4 years, 8 years, these talks with Iran dragged on about a deal on their nuclear energy. The idea was preposterous. Per the pillars of jihad in the Quran, they believe they have every right to lie to the infidel. They strung us along. President Obama made a horrible deal. It did nothing to stop the potential weaponization of nuclear material by Iran. If you all remember, his spokesperson at the time said they made a deal with moderates in the Iranian government. That was an absolute lie for the simple fact that there are no moderates in Tehran. They are Shia Muslim extremists, and if you get in their way, they believe they have the right to kill you. It is that simple. So President Obama's treaty was literally useless, other than it was a political talking point, a political win for him to use. But what Iran did do, they funded the Houthis to attack Saudi Arabia, Why? Because Saudi Arabia is Sunni Muslim, and Shia Muslims absolutely hate them. Iran funded Hamas. So from the time Hamas took over Gaza, and again, in 2005, the deal was made. Muslims get Gaza. The deal was there's an acknowledgement that Israel will be safe. Instead, Hamas takes over in 2007 and develops the largest asymmetric military base in a civilian population in the history of the world. And on October 7th of 2023, they attacked Israel, with over 1,200 Israelis killed. Iran has again and again and again been very clear about their intent to kill every Israeli and to decimate Israel and replace Israel with a Shia Muslim country. Again, this goes along with their goal of a Shia Muslim caliphate. So the idea for anyone to say, whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, or a newscaster, to imply that there was any genuine foundation for Iran wanting peace, either you're grossly incompetent or you're grossly disingenuous. It's one of the two. The next point I want to make is these criticisms of the president not seeking congressional approval. And again, these are Democrats and some Republicans, sadly, that are criticizing the president. He made the right call. The idea of doing this through Congress is ridiculous for a raid or for a sole attack, not war. The president absolutely has the authorization to do this. But there's a more specific point, particularly for Democrats. If we go back to President Obama, at the end of his term, he provided Iran with $1.7 billion. He literally rewarded them and placated them. And we still have never gotten a rationale why he did that, other than some diluted rationale that if you asked a simple cross-examination question, that their responses make no sense. But President Obama justifiably attacked Libya, and he had every right to do so. I won't go into detail at this moment. But he also had Anwar al-Awlaki, an American, killed overseas. And again, I think President Obama absolutely called it correctly. I won't go into detail. This will be a longer video. But if you really believe that you want to impeach President Trump today, you can't impeach President Obama. But will you file murder charges against President Obama? And my answer to you is absolutely not. You're absolutely wrong in going down that path. President Biden, when he left Afghanistan and the absolute travesty, the worst military defeat in American history, absolutely did not have to happen. If you all recall, we lost 13 service members and another 42 had life-altering injuries. President Biden stated he would find who did it, and bring justice. And a few days later, he dropped a bomb. He killed someone. And President Biden and Lloyd Austin initially stated that there were secondary explosions on the car, so they knew they had the right guy. And that turned out to be a complete lie. It turned out that the guy was delivering water on behalf of the United Nations. So they killed an innocent man and they killed a number of innocent children. So you can't impeach Joe Biden for doing a military attack after he said we were out of Afghanistan, because at that point we were no longer involved in combat operations. Obviously, you can't bring him back and impeach him. Will you hold the same standard and charge Joe Biden with the murder of that man and those children? And what I would say to you is, obviously not. The president meant well. They made the best decision based on intel, and they got it wrong. That happens in war. So, fast forward to President Trump. He made a phenomenal call. And he made sure that the Iranians, at least for the near future, cannot kill more Israelis and cannot annihilate the country of Israel. So, going forward, what does this look like? What I would say to all of you, we need to get sleazy politicians out of Washington. This bipartisan infighting needs to stop. Democrats are now talking about impeachment. What I would say to them is, you are all absolutely ridiculous. You hate President Trump so much that you will use any potential tool to go after him. And you're wrong, because not only does it hurt him, it hurts our country, and it hurts the national security interest of the United States of America. If you can't be objective, at least show some integrity and resign from your position. Give someone else a shot at Congress so we can get rid of sleazy politicians. Ideally, we don't want any politicians in Washington, D.C. Ideally, we want people who truly represent the areas they represent in the country. And that clearly is not occurring now. So I've shared some thoughts. In closing, President Trump, sir, phenomenal decision. And to Pete Hegseth, phenomenal execution. Bigger picture of the globe for all you naysayers, it's who else is now absolutely taking note of what we did. The Chinese absolutely are concerned, and they are absolutely trying to figure out exactly how we can do this to touch someone we dislike around the globe. So as this comes back to the issue of Taiwan, this absolutely got their attention. So again, my name is Dr. Casas. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please call me. And again, as a retired colonel with 2 deployments in Iraq and 1 deployment as a commander in Afghanistan, I think I have the expertise to share my thoughts and training. And I've had strategic level positions. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them in the comment section, or you're always welcome to give me a call. Thank you.